Hello, dear mentor. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Professor Mendy. How are you doing?
In Senegal, people really, it's a big challenge to make them come on time.
True. That's true.
Well, we abide by the rule of work, you know, whenever they're ready to go, we go.
Okay, maybe should we wait for 5 minutes, 5 more minutes?
No, Professor Sen is supposed to say a few words if he's available. I don't know whether he is. Marianne?
Okay.
Marianne?
Okay.
Hello.
Marianne.
Hello,
Yes.
Marianne.
Hi.
How are you?
Hello.
Hi.
Is your boss available?
Yes, we just have a small connection issue, but he will be on in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just.
Okay. Ils sont en train. Allô? Allô, Louis?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Professor.
Yeah,
how are you
doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. What about you?
I am fine. We're having a problem of connection here. So maybe if you allow me, I will just give a few words of welcome and then let Dr. Touré maybe lead the discussion with you, right?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, really, I thought about this, but I said, Dr. Touré is an able moderator, but I owe a few words to my good friend, my colleague, Professor Louis Mendy, for his dedication to his work as educator in the Department of English, University Cheikh Anta Diop. Louis Mendy, all students and your colleagues know how dedicated you are to the work at hand. Everybody can bear a testimony to your dedication. That's why I would like to say here and now, thank you very much. Okay, so I would like to say here and now, thank you very much for what you've been doing for us. Maybe I should add something else. If ever a were to lift the number of resource persons always and permanent available to the West African Research Center, I should start with your name, Louis. You know it. For many years, you've been willing to engage in the hard-working task of selecting all the application we receive for our travel grants. Each semester, we have between 4 and 5 of them, but each semester, you are plied, encumbered by hundreds of applications, and you've never relented doing that job to perfection. And at the beginning, you were willing to do it absolutely free, no charge, as they say, no, nothing. Now we can, make an effort and just to give you that little we're giving you, but you've never been in a position to negotiate or to ask for more. Thank you for all of this. That's why I really wanted to say a few words before you start. And you are also engaged in collaborating with us in other areas. So Louis, may God bless you. Rokhaya, I already introduced you. You are Professor Mendy pupil when you were a young toddler right there somewhere in Chess. You came to the university and he also was your professor, myself included. I remember your presentation on Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter. I think it was in Amphi 1 or Amphi 2. You were there defending Hester Prynne, whom many of the students would call Hester Prynne. I just don't know why they would say Prynne. It's double M. Impossible to prime it. So Hester Prynne, and you were there supporting, defending Hester Prynne. You were right. But at the same time, you had your hijab. And all the students were crying, how can you wear this hijab and defend this girl, this lady? And you were standing your ground in spite of the assaults and attacks of 100 of male students. You held your ground, and I was very proud of you on that day.
Thank you.
I know also on many occasions, I just connected you with some people who wanted, good translation, either from English to French or from French to English. You always did it each time. I would just take the time to double check your work, but it was sterling perfect. So you are a good product of the Department of English. So I hope this session is going to be, once again, a sterling, enlightening contribution of Professor Louis Mendy to knowledge and knowledge in the area of American studies, English studies. So thank you, everybody. And again, sorry, I won't be able to be with you for the whole time you'll be discussing, but if I can come back, I certainly will be coming back. Thank you very much. So Rokhaya, it's up to you to navigate now.
All right. Thanks so much, Professor. Dear Professor, we are so delighted always to hear from you. And I'm so deeply touched and moved whenever you recall that event that happened, that was in 2001. That's quite a long time ago. So I would like to, let's say, restate all my acknowledgement to you, all of you, my gratitude, my heartfelt really gratitude to all of you, starting with Professor Mendy, because if I am here, I stood on the shoulder of giants, because you are the giants who are really holding me up. So whatever I have today is thanks to you. So, and I will never forget that. And I always express my gratitude, and I'll always do my best to really be up to the task, because you have really given us your best. And it's our duty really to deserve it, or at least to show that we were your product. Thanks so much again to Professor Sen, Professor Mendy, whom, as Professor Sen said, dated back 25 years ago. That was in Maliksi High School. And I will always piggyback on what Professor Sen said on his selflessness, on his dedication. He has always been like that, working out, let's say, free of charge, just for the benefit of students, pushing them beyond their barriers, really helping them reach their potential. So here we express all our heartfelt gratitude to Professor Mendy again, and to all of you, because you have all been doing the same. Okay, just to come back now to the nitty-gritty, the crux of the matter that brings us together today. We are here to talk about, we are still in the, let's say, I will not call it the Women's Day, I will call it Women's Month or Women's Year. Women are there all year round. There are always achieving great things. So, so just as part of the activities celebrating women, so we are here today to talk about, of course, not everything is rosy. There are also other parts that we need to tackle and really do our own self-criticism and see what needs to be right. Okay, so today we are going to have a discussion. We're going to have a presentation made by Professor Mendy, who's a full professor at the English department in American Studies, and he's hiding in his corner, who does not want to show all his hats, okay, to display all his hats, right? But he's involved in many other activities, many other aspects. So also an excellent professor in American Studies. So today he'll make a presentation, he'll talk about just as a continuity of what we started last week, let's say nearly 10 days ago, about the Black skin, meaning, and his topic, he will talk about Black skin business in Black, an anthropological approach. So I'm going, without any further ado, I'm going to give him the floor because, you know, we are time bound. to give him the floor and listen to him. So please call on all your attention to listen to him. And I hope that after we will have very interactive, very interesting discussion. So over to you, dear mentor, as I call him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Sen. Thank you, Rokhaya. Good afternoon, dear friends of work. And thank you, Professor Sen, for giving us another opportunity to debate again after the interesting discussions about the movie Dark Girls. Professor Sen and his staff turned work into one of the best centers for knowledge dissemination in the country. So thank you so much, Professor Sen, for being larger than life. May God bless you all. Thank you also to the SASA members who are connected, because I'm a member of SASA. And thank you to the moderator again, Dr. Rokhaya Touré. My presentation aims at discussing some issues related to the Black skin business. Marianne put that it is a conference, but in reality, it's not really a conference in the traditional sense, because I'm not going to pontificate, but just to share some ideas with you. When white men invaded Africa, we all know, without the shadow of a doubt, that the rationale of such an enterprise was economic profits that led to the enslavement of Africans, the denial of their cultures and religions, and the execration of their skin color. Once the enslaved Africans set foot in America, they were demonized, flogged, lynched, and reduced to less than human beings. Puritan beliefs even labeled them disciples of Satan, bound to dwell in hell because of their dark skin. All those mistreatments naturally developed a psychological trauma, especially in women, when their Black skin was associated with ugliness. Needless to say that women are much more concerned about beauty than men. I will first talk about the psychological concern about beauty that triggered off the black skin business in the USA. Then I will briefly analyze men's responsibility for making the black business prosper or be in the black. And finally, I will expound on today's reverse black skin business. Point one, women's psychological concern about beauty and the start of the black skin business. Belonging to a minority group is oftentimes a tough sledding because the majority always tends to trample it over. Add to that the poor living conditions and poverty causing Black people in America to unconsciously internalize the fact that Blackness cannot be dissociated with reduced circumstances, poverty, and ugliness, whereas whiteness naturally implies wealth, posh neighborhoods, and beauty. We can find a good illustration of that in Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye with the protagonist Pecola. After having Black women internalize that beauty can only be associated with whiteness, it became quite simple for the racist American business people to manufacture skin blemishing products for them. The media played a paramount role in advertising the beauty of white and clear complexioned skins. Consequently, most beauty shops in America began displaying beauty products for Black women, or rather dark women. Let us just imagine the amount of money those racist tycoons have made since the Black skin business began in the United States of America and expanded in Africa later on. However, if the Black skin business has been in the black for so long, it is also thanks to the Black man's craving for white beauty. Second point, Black man's responsibility. After the emancipation of Blacks, or their so-called freedom, some Black men began to date white women, although that was illegal in many states. We can refer to two famous cases in the United States at the time. We have the case of Loving versus the state of Virginia. In fact, it's about a white man called Richard Loving, who married a Black woman, Mildred, but they could not be accepted in the state of Virginia because that was illegal. The other case was McLaughlin versus the state of Florida. It's about a Black man this time, Dewey McLaughlin, a Black man who married Connie Hoffman, a white lady. Same problem. They had a lot of difficulties with to stay in the state of Florida. And both couples had to leave their states because of those problems. And both couples were guilty of breaking the law against miscegenation. When dating white women became a hard nut to crack, many African-American men turned to clear-complexioned Black women. Consequently, the dark women felt abandoned, and they took it for granted that if they blemished their skins, they would be appreciated and loved by their men. After all, they preferred Black men to white ones. The Black skin business thrived not only in the United States of America, but also in Black Africa, where African women had also internalized the fact that beauty equaled whiteness. All women in the world are very sensitive to beauty. It is believed that Satan, the snake in the Garden of Eden, praised Eve's beauty first in order to convince her to eat the fruit of the forbidden tree. Serial womanizers are also successful because when it comes to toadying women's beauty, they are the salt of the earth. Let us face it, women have got a natural proclivity for beauty. Saying to a woman that she's ugly is tantamount to psychologically crushing her down. They are ready to do anything possible to be beautiful and win their men over. Let us just imagine one more time the profits made by the Black skin business people in Africa since the 1960s, 70s until today. Besides the Black skin products, the human hair business has also been in the black for the past few decades. I have read in one of the local newspapers that some Senegalese women are ready to spend up to 500,000 francs CFA, 500,000 francs CFA on human hair, and most of the time, the money is provided by men. I have got an article, a text here written by somebody called Zinga Kimpa Vita Kodju, maybe from Central Africa or one of the countries in West Africa. And his title is Ministre de la Décolonisation. And the text is in French, so I'm going to read it in French. So this is what he says, quoting somebody. Ne pleure plus, ma fille, si je te coupe les cheveux. C'est pour les vendre à l'autre bout du monde. Tu sais, là-bas, c'est l'Afrique. Les femmes qui y vivent détestent leurs cheveux. C'est la raison pour laquelle je te coupe les cheveux pour les leur vendre. Tu sais, si je ne le fais pas, comment allons-nous faire pour vivre? Les pauvres, il faut voir comment elles se bagarrent pour ça. Or, elles sont même ridicules. Elles ne savent pas que les cheveux créent une certaine connexion entre elles et le cosmos. Je me demande bien comment un peuple peut-il être aussi malade? Le comble, ma fille, c'est que quand tu vas là-bas, tu vois des hommes se battre pour acheter ça à leurs femmes. J'ai tout vu sur cette terre-là. J'ai fait le tour du monde, mais jamais je n'ai vu un peuple qui se renie jusqu'à renier ses propres cheveux. Je ne l'ai jamais vu. Ils sont d'une particularité là-bas. Tu sais, même les premières dames de ces pays se disputent pour avoir tes cheveux. Ils ont renié leur culture. Ils ont renié leur tradition. Ils refusent de parler leur propre langue. Ils refusent d'accepter la couleur de leur peau. Ils refusent de chercher à comprendre leur spiritualité. So this was the passage I wanted to read to add to what I have just said and continue. So I talked about the 500,000 francs that some ladies are ready to spend on human hair. And the funny thing is that if they don't have the money, it's the men, it's we, us, the men who give the money, oftentimes. So it always pains me whenever I see a dark African woman or an African-American one with blonde hair. Nevertheless, some highly educated women are cognizant of the new dynamics to reverse the black skin business. Point 3, reversing the black skin business for Africans. We can be quite sanguine today that Black women and men are going to reverse that unbearable situation. They have finally realized that skin blemishing does not imply natural beauty, but a fake one. A lot of women today are proud of their skin color. Ladies like Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, Whoopi Goldberg, Soda Mama Fall, to name but a few, are role models for a lot of Black women throughout the world. Products like cocoa butter, lotion, coconut oil are being used by African and African-American women for the beauty of their skins. The myth of white or clear complexion beauty is gradually losing ground. Some African media tycoons are also helping in that sense by hiring dark women and advertising dark-skinned products. Parents, especially mothers, have got a paramount role to play for future generations of girls to be proud of who they are. Educators and female leaders should also be at the vanguard for Black people to be proud of their skin color. To conclude, I will just say that the perception of beauty is changing in the Black world. Africans and African Americans have now understood that they must be proud of themselves, love each other, be economically sound, to be respected by the whites. And we have another good example by Toni Morrison in her last book, God Help the Child, where the protagonist, Sweetness, who is dark, the writer says she has got midnight darkness. So Sweetness, with her midnight darkness, has launched her own beauty product that she calls You Girl. And we can understand through those two words, you girl, that she's inviting Black girls, dark girls, to be proud of who they are, to be proud of themselves, and to keep their dark skin color. And let us never forget, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Thank you for the privilege of your time.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Well, a round of applause, but unfortunately this is virtual.
Rokhaya?
So yes, hello. Yes, I can hear you. I'm speaking right now. So I'm saying that if you were in let's say in person, you would receive a round of applause. But since this is a virtual meeting, anyway, we really thank you for this very deep, very.
I would give you a comment, but you can come in. No, yeah, come in. I was on the Zoom on a conference. Oh.
Hello, dear Prof. Shall I go on? Okay. So thanks so much, dear Professor Mendy, dear mentor, for this very insightful presentation. So I really at some point felt ashamed because this is really speaking directly to us women. So just for a brief recap, I'm going to recap your main points. First of all, you started by thanking Wark and Professor Sen, and also that this is just following suit of the film we watched a few days ago about dark girls. And you mentioned also the dark skin business, and also you made also the, let's say, the genesis, how Black skin came to be demonized by white people, and that white, when they first invaded Africa, it was for economic profit, but they end up enslaving Africans and also making them hate their skin. And then African also, when they went to the United States, they were demonized, they were flogged, and so they were just even equal to Satan. And when also after emancipation, white, black did not, black men also, they have a share of their fair share of responsibility because they did not want to marry Black women. So they went to marry white women, and it was completely illegal in some state. And you gave example of in Virginia and in Florida of 2 cases of mixed miscegenation, as I call it. And then after you move on to the skin of black, let's say bleaching, skin bleaching, and also how the media also advertised the whites, the fair skin, how the beauty product flourished from America to Africa, and how much money also they spend on this business. And you just go back to the origin that was in 1960s, 70s, and until now. And also you read also a very interesting and very, let's say, heartbreaking text from a Central African man, Zinga, with the beauty of human hair, that Senegalese women are ready to spend as much as 500,000 to get human hair. And also the text that Zinga read, that Black women denied everything. They deny their culture, they deny they don't speak their language, even their skin, they don't like their skin, they don't like their hair. That's really, so that's what you mentioned. And then, but now, the last point, at least there is a glimmer of hope here, that there is a new, let's say, a reversal of the tide, that Black skin, some women now who are cognizant and who are, let's say, well-known and very famous, are, let's say, are promoting Black skin. And you mentioned Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, and Soda Mama Fall, just to name but a few. And that Black products are being now used, are being promoted, like coconut butter and other products, and that the white myth is collapsing, that more and more women now are becoming proud, and that mothers also, we made a call to mothers that they should instill love to their daughter, and to teach them to love themselves. And you may end it by a conclusion with book of Toni Morrison, his latest novel, where Sweetness is marketing a product called You Girl, just to entice girls to be proud of their skin. So this is in a nutshell what the gist of what we got from your presentation. I know the audience has so many questions, and their questions burning their lips. So you are all welcome to participate. So if ever you want to take the floor, you can raise the raise your hand feature. You can raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat. Whoever wants to take the floor, you are all welcome for your questions, for your input. So the floor is open to whoever wants to take it. And I hope it will be very interesting and very interactive. Is there any reaction? There should be.
Maybe you should give the floor to Professor Sen first.
Is he speaking? Is he speaking to me? No, he's speaking to someone else.
Rokhaya.
Yes. Professor Sen, do you want to take the floor again? Can he hear me? Seems that he's talking. Yes, I can hear you, Professor. Can you hear me? Hello, Professor Mendy, I can hear you.
Yeah, now you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm speaking.
I mean, we discussed all
I'm asking.
We discussed all
Yeah, I'm asking you to give the floor to Professor Sen first.
Yeah, okay. Look, guys, we discussed this issue the other week, and today we discuss also, but none of us mentioned Leopold Sédar Senghor, his negritude movement, and his poem, Femme Noire. Femme nue, femme noire, vêtue de ta peau qui est vie et de ta forme qui est beauté. Vêtue de ta couleur qui est vie et de ta forme qui est beauté. Don't you see here, you know, this process of turning the table and telling the rest of the world, particularly Europe, you forced on us truth which are your truth, but we mean to redefine the world. The quality or negative connotation you have put on the color black is something we're going to review. You've always said, as black as death. No, we say that black is the color of life. De ta couleur qui est vie de ta forme qui est beauté, you've already described, shown the black woman with, you know, big lips, big bulging eyes, big sagging breast, and big butt. All the travelogues, that is to say, you know, the books written during their travel to Africa by Europeans tended to present the black woman like that with exaggerated shapes and features. He says, de ta forme qui est beauté. So in this poem, there is an absolute redefinition of the world by actually ascribing to the attribute of a black woman, you know, meanings and significance which are absolutely the reverse of what the white man has always wanted to push on us. And this is extremely important. The Black art movement, followed by the negritude movement, are periods in our evolution as Black people, which are extremely important, and Senghor's contribution should be emphasized here. The second thing I would like to say is, wait a minute. It is not true that the meaning of white and black were something which we got from the white people who came to colonize us. If you look at, you know, our phrases, our quotations, and even some of the values we ascribe to white and black, well, the distinction between the two were not generated necessarily by the white man. I told you, I gave you the other day an example. In Arrow of God, when Ezewulu, the paramount chief, decides to welcome the white man, one of his detractors told him, Ezewulu, you have shaken hands with a white body. White body? That's a leper. That's a leper. Among the people belonging to the ethnic group of Chinua Achebe, a leper is called a white body. So you will be visiting yourself with all of problems because you decided to side with a white man. But the white man is not positively represented. The white man is a leper. That's why all manners of bad things will be falling on Ezewulu's head and on his family. Also, I told you the other week, you know, this is not any translation from English. What do we say? Nyul kuk ni karim. That's not a translation. That's the genius of a world of people who invented this. And you can also add, thinking of me from Sokon, gat nyul nyao. I agree, maybe. Have you ever heard gat ches nyao? So already the world of people without the effect coming from white colonization decided to describe beauty and ugliness after a fashion. And Louis, what's your wife's name? Louis, what's your wife's name? He can't hear me.
It seems that he has an issue with his...
Yeah. And let me finish on this. If a griot wants me to give money or wants my wife to give money, what do they say? Madam, dinawe naru aji. Ma kharlen ma way naru aji. Pourquoi? Why would Aji's husband be called Nar? Why? Il est beau, il est gentil, il donne de l'argent. Naru Aji. Who invented this? The white man? No. Who did? Us. With our relationship with the Arab people. So beauty is Arab. Hey. So let's also blame ourselves for a certain projection and understanding of the world. Those are the little things I wanted to say. I apologize it was too long. My apologies to everybody.
No worry. Thank you, well, Professor. Always insightful input. Is there any reaction from the audience? Does anyone want to take the floor? Or you can raise your hand. Yes, yeah, I'm seeing a hand here. Okay, Babakar, you can go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Rokhaya, for giving me the floor. And thanks, Professor Mendy, for the interesting and relevant presentation. And thanks also for Professor Sen for having touched upon the very important aspect of re-interrogating the legacies of colonialism, not only the West, but also colonization coming from the Orient. Because I think Dr. Mendy did something really interesting. I think this is a timely approach for us doing American studies to go towards the history of ideas, right? Because whenever we talk about race, sometimes the way we tackle race in African American studies is sometimes not always literature. I mean, racism, the way it's manifests itself in your history. But sometimes I think we need to go deeper than that, going to the Enlightenment, how race was constructed when Europe tended to invade the world. And I think Dr. Mendy touched on that. I mean, colonialism, imperialism, the idea of Europe invading the world, it is when they wanted to construct the idea of race so that they can differentiate themselves between the non-West, right? So racism having to be created on that particular issue. And also something like a topic in African American literature, passing for white. There is a lot of literature debated on that. For example, I'm thinking of Nella Larsen's Passing. This is that of the 1929 Quicksand. Some African Americans were ashamed of their, but also of their history, so they wanted to pass for white. They were light-skinned, and they wanted to be, you know, to no longer be part and parcel of the Black community, but also to join the white community. So they skinned being a vehicle for them to pass for white. So this is also something that we have to dig deeper, how, why, right? And the last thing, and it is also here to ask a question. Dr. Mendy, it is as if, I want to ask you the question now, who to blame, right? And maybe Rokhaya, the feminists will have to ask the question, who to blame? If women are now wanting to be more beautiful, if women want to be whiter than they are, who to blame, you know? Is it because they want to be so, or is it not because men also are somehow somebody to blame? Because women in Africa, and it is the call to gender study, we have also to consider gender study at the Institute of American Studies. We assign women a particular assigned identity. They have to be beautiful, they have to look in a particular way so that we men, we can conquer them. So I think at that particular point, we have also to interrogate who to blame at this particular point. Because it is as if you're saying they want to be this because it is them, they want to